Well, mom and dad have always said that do what you want. They never said anything about being in the business. I mean, the business wasn't around when we were very little. It was always do what you're passionate about. So there was never any pressure to become a doctor, to go into the family business. I started out in college. I enjoyed theater arts, so I did theater arts while I was at Long Beach City College. And then when I went to Cal State Long Beach, I decided to change direction and thought about English. That didn't quite fit me. And at that time, I met an interior designer who was doing some work for mom and dad, and thought I'd take a class at Cal State Long Beach. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the problem solving, I enjoyed the creativity and the design. So I did my degree there. And when I finished, I thought, I want to do more than that. I want to take over the design of the entire building, have it from start to finish. So I got my master's at Cal Poly Pomona in architecture and was supported the whole way. Well, of course, we all worked in it growing up. And then when I was in college, I continued to work there. We had an architect working for us, building out the family practice offices. And so he actually took me on, and I worked with him. So I got a lot of practical experience. So I was still in the office working there. And through college, both my husband and I worked there doing billing, and kept our feet in there until I graduated. He went a different direction, and then I also, because of my degree, started working with an architectural firm. Mom and dad were always, of course, they're teachers, so I think it was innate in them. They really fostered this love of learning. They wanted us to read. We did a lot of exploring, just being kids and outdoors playing. They didn't really want a lot of organized activities. They were more interested in us doing things to explore, which of course is kind of the idea behind education, is learn by doing. So basically that's how my influence with them. They really just encouraged us to always push a little bit further, never settle, learn a little bit more, and that was it.
You go from getting your hands dirty, building the business. Mm-hmm. You go into interior design, into architecture, and somehow you're back at something to do with education.
Well,
talk about that road.
Okay, so I worked for another firm for years. I ended up, one of the women that I went to graduate school, she and I started an architectural firm. But after we had our second child, I decided it was really time for me to stay home. I wanted to be an active and involved part of their education, their childhood. And so I ended up leaving that and stayed at home for several years. It wasn't until our second one was ready to go into preschool. We were looking around. We had a great preschool for our first son. And then when our daughter was ready to go, and I was pregnant with our third one, I thought, I just couldn't drive that far. It just seemed a little bit much. So we started looking for places that were closer to us, but had the same philosophy of the school that he went to and we really enjoyed. But I didn't see something that really fulfilled our needs. So my husband jokingly says, why don't you just open your own preschool? And I said, well, what do I know about that? And luckily I had a lot of people in my life who were very involved directly with education, with their own schools, in private, commercial. And so what we did was we sat down, brought all these people, kind of the experts in their field, and said, can we do something? Can we do something that allows me to have this philosophy where I want it, allows me to still stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom? And we decided yes, and that was where it all started. I guess one of the things that I was thinking about when I was reading the questions in the interview was, education being important for obviously the preschool, our families, our siblings, but I think that it goes back to one of the reasons why it infiltrates into something like medicine and the whole taking care of patients. It's that knowledge. You've heard it a million times. Knowledge is power. And, my dad started by saying preventative care is so important. And once you teach a family how to do these things and take care of themselves, everybody does better. The whole family, the whole community does better. So that's such a part of Molina Healthcare, is giving knowledge to those patients so that it's more of a collaborative effort. It's not just the doctor saying, here's what you have to do. It's engaging them. That's why the foundation is such an important part, and having the family practice is such an important part. My husband and I have had this conversation, and as far as our family and the way we're raising our kids, we have a saying: we're not in this for ourselves alone. I read that quote a long time ago, and he and I both really thought that really says it all. It's not just about what you have, where you are, what you can contribute. It's about all of us and how we're working as a community. There's a reason why we live in a community. We're not out on our own. So as far as the Watt family, and I think I say that, but of course it goes with my siblings too, is we are so ingrained in the community and making it the best place it can be, and teaching our children the same thing.